Hi, I'm Billy Keels, the host of the Going Long podcast. Every week, I'm going to be here interviewing the absolute best in the business as it relates to real asset investing, as well as real Main Street investors. We're going to be having conversations where you can listen in, and that's going to help you to continue on your path to education so that you feel much more comfortable as well as confident in investing long distance. So make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you're liking it as well, because that way you can get every single episode as soon as it comes out. And by the way, don't forget to leave today's episode a 5-star review. Let's go ahead and listen to today's conversation. Welcome to the Going Long podcast. We're back once again to continue to educate you so that you feel much more comfortable and confident investing beyond your backyard. I'm your host, Billy Keels. And you know what? If you've ever wanted to know what it was like to be a busy attorney and at the same time be able to focus on making the most of life, your work, and your money through real estate investing, then guess what? This is absolutely the conversation that you're going to want to listen to until the very end. You know why? Because today's guest is not only an attorney, he is a father of two, and he's an attorney who's been practicing for over 15 years. And he got started in real estate investing in 2016. And since then has really been on a path of continuing to grow his portfolio and grow and getting more closer to the lifestyle that he is wanting to lead and create. And want to welcome to today's show our guest, Cory Iannacone, or Iannacone. So, Cory, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, Billy. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, I had a blast. I'm having a blast talking to you, getting things started. So this is really, really awesome. I know so many people are going to get a lot of value out of today's conversation, but there's a pretty similar format I like to follow all the time. And so I'd love for you to help us understand, where do you live in the U.S.?
I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which is the capital of Pennsylvania. And for those listeners who don't know Pennsylvania or United States geography that well, we're very close to Atlantic Ocean, East Coast. We're about an hour to 2 hours away from Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and even New York City.
All right, awesome. So they're on the west, on the East Coast. Sorry, I don't on the east side of the U.S. So perfect. Thank you for that. And Cory, what's the most positive thing that's happened to you in the last 24 hours?
You mean other than being on Billy Keys' podcast?
Exactly. Other than being here with Billy Keels today, yeah.
I would have to say it's everything is centered around my family. It really is at the end of the day. So we're just coming off a weekend for me. And I would say we did a lot over the weekend, family stuff. Sunday would be the last 24 hours. We did nice brunch with the family. No electronic devices, which is huge.
Love it.
To actually sit down and have true family time.
Yeah.
And then after running all of our errands for the day, big in our family, you can appreciate Italian heritage here.
Oh, yeah.
Sunday is a day for cooking at home dinner. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we do. We always do one really good dinner Sunday specifically. And there's a big thing, a little wine when we're cooking. But it's all family oriented. It's just something about that. It just feels good. A good end of the weekend.
Okay. I love that, man. That is great. And when you get to do those things like spending family time, quality time, and I love the whole not having a lot of electronic devices and things like that. So you can actually focus on being together. I love that, man. Thanks for sharing that with us. And so look, Cory, you've kind of helped us understand where you live, some of the things that have happened in the last 24 hours that are important to you. But give us a little bit more about your backstory and maybe some of the decisions that you've made to get to this point of your real estate investing journey.
Yeah, so backstory. I grew up in Maryland, which is just south of Pennsylvania, very close, about an hour away. I grew up in the sticks. I'm talking like cow farm, my house, cow farm. I mean, you could drive your tractor to my high school. That's what it was. Wow. I mean, sticks. Wow. So that was through 18. And then I went to college in Baltimore City in Maryland. Completely different than cow country there. So that was 4 years undergrad there. And then from there, I moved up to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for law school. And that's where I've been since then. While I was in law school, I got a job at a large central Pennsylvania law firm where I worked during law school there. They brought me on full time afterwards. And I spent, 13 years there working. I did just climbing the corporate ladder like you do. I ended up making partner there. Everything was doing great. And then we actually decided, a group of us at that firm decided to break off and start our own firm about 3 years ago. It's 2017. That's what we did. It's really enlightening, I think, when you go from a W-2 job or a job where you're getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, every month. And then all of a sudden, that income just turns off, right? And it's gone. You're no longer getting that check. And you're not going to another W-2 job where all of a sudden your income just starts right back up. You're literally quitting your job, and then you need a capital contribution to start a business. So you're cutting a big check because there's startup costs. You have to pay for staff. You have to pay rent. You have to pay all these things. And then you're gambling that all your clients are going to come over with you, and you're going to be able to bill those clients. Lawyers don't bill out every day, week. It's once a month. So you have to go through a full month cycle. And then after that month is gone, then you get to send the bills out. And then there's another 30-day delay before the money comes in. So when you start your own firm, that first month, you're spending more time on administrative things, right? Just getting started running. So you're not spending as much time billing clients. So your best case scenario when you start a new business is maybe 90 days out, you actually get a paycheck to pay yourself. And that's your best case scenario. Fortunately, we were very successful. Clients came over with us, and 3 months, maybe 4 months, we started getting paid again. But I will tell you, those 3-4 months of no paycheck, I found it very enlightening because you really sit back and reflect on what type of position you're in. I mean, I was doing very well financially, still am. I mean, there's no issues there. Mm-hmm. But when that paycheck stops coming in, you're like, wow, what kind of position am I really in? Like if I were to lose every client, if I were not to get a paycheck, I think that was a big light bulb went off in my head where I realized, there must be something else. You need to have a backup plan at least, or do something else. So this is around 2017. I told you in 2016, which is part of the transition period too, when we were contemplating starting a new firm and everything. That's when I really started getting into real estate. And very cliche, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad on a flight to my sister's wedding in Key West. And I mean, I read for a living, and it's what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. But I tell you, I read that book in 2 days. I never read so fast. And my kids were very young at that point. I think my one was 1 year old and the other one would be 3 or 4. And they're laying on me on the plane. I couldn't put it down. But I read it. I was like, this is literally the answer. What he's saying, Robert Kiyosaki, it's like, he's talking about building up your asset column and use that to pay your bills instead of using the W-2 income, which goes right in and right out the door. So right around that is when I said, I'm doing this, period. I'm absolutely doing this 100%. And the timing worked out well because I told you when I quit the job and then there's no paycheck coming in, yep. All the pieces of the puzzle were coming together at that point in time, late 2016, right in the beginning of 2017. So that's how it happened. I started with that flight back from my sister's wedding in Key West. Mm-hmm. My grandfather had passed away 2 years prior. My mom still had his house, but it was sitting there vacant. So every year she pays the taxes. Every month she pays utilities to keep them going, right? And when you're thinking about ideas, I mean, trust me, all the gears are turning in my head. I mean, the first thing that came to mind right away was, why don't you, to my mom, I was like, just the next thing on the plan, I was like, why don't you let me take Pop's house and let me at least fix it up, and let's find somebody good to put in there, and then you'll never have to pay a bill again to it. And not only that, you're going to get a check every month that comes in the door. And it was a long process, but we got my mom there, and she let me go ahead and take the reins of that. That house was 2 hours away because that's in Baltimore. I'm living in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania at this time. Mm-hmm. So that was a challenge. That was my longest rehab ever. Wow. I think it took 6 or 7 months. I mean, it was a big job, but today, I mean, it's like a knockout in 2 months. But it was a learning experience. That's what we used it for.
I was going to say, what did you learn from that, right? Because so right from the very beginning, you're doing something that is long distance, right? You're living in one place and you're doing, not only that, you're rehabbing a couple hour drive away.
Yeah. It was nuts. It really was. Part of it was, and this is the biggest issue I find in real estate investing, is this fear. There's always this fear people have to jump into it right away. And I'm sure you had it. Everybody has that fear, but it's mentally getting past that fear. I viewed this as, it was something that was just like right in front of me. It was like, this is too easy. I don't have to go out and buy a property right away. I have one sitting right there, right? Mm-hmm. It felt more safe to me and more comfortable. And the main purpose was not to get rich off this one thing, but it was just to learn the process and get experience doing it. And that's what we did. The biggest mistake, we would need hours to go through all the mistakes that were made. But I think it's just really, I didn't have any systems in place at that point in time to really figure it out. I really used that whole process to develop systems, even coming down to how to order materials more quickly. And it was the amount of time it took to go through the whole process.
Okay. So, I mean, so you've had a number of things that were going on, right? From being from the Baltimore area, you got your degrees, then you were doing the normal corporate thing, right? You're doing your additional education, you're doing your 10 plus years in one role. And then you decided, hey, you're going to take a turn to the left, right? Or make a new part of your life. And so, one of the things that I love you talking about is just that part of when you make that transition, it's not like you need to think about what is going to happen the day of N+1, because there will be no additional check coming in, because now you've moved from depending on someone else to pay your salary to now you paying your own salary. There's you talked about Rich Dad Poor Dad, but there's also another really good book. I don't know if you've read it. Called Before You Quit Your Job by Robert Kiyosaki as well. And so that when you're talking about some of the really key concepts that even that book addresses, to think about, are you ready to go forward to potentially 6-9 months without having any income? Are you prepared for that? Is your family prepared for that? So I think it's great that you're sharing that insight for so many of our audience today, because they're going to really be able to benefit from that. But look, the thing is, Cory, in the back of my mind, and I know a lot of people that are here, a lot of people are high paid professionals that are watching and listening to us, but most of the time we're taught, go out, you want to be an attorney, you want to be a lawyer because you're going to go out and you're going to make a lot of money. And once you get there, that's the pinnacle. So you actually arrived there, and then you were at the same time not only looking to create your own firm with other people, but also create another plan B. So plan B and plan C. Why does anyone do that if you're already in one of the best professions, perceived professions ever?
I think that's the problem, is perceived perceptions. I think you said, go be a lawyer to make a lot of money. That is absolutely the wrong reason to be a lawyer, a doctor, or any other profession. I think that's the number one mistake.
Love it.
I will tell you, the most fun I've ever had being an attorney is that period of time when money was not coming in, because while that was obviously I need money to support the family, my main focus was on the actual business itself. I was like, I need to build this business. I need to be very successful in this business, not worried about the paycheck, just assuming it will come one day down the road. And it did. It was exciting, like an adrenaline rush. And I think that was the right reason to do it. Actually going into court is fun, but lawyers don't go into court all the time, believe it or not. I spend most of my days behind this computer right here, researching, writing. I mean, it's not what you see on TV. So I think the wrong perspective is doing anything for money. I will tell you right now, the real estate, I don't do it for money. It makes money. It's great. It's fun. That's an ancillary part of it.
What do you do it
for? Purely a passion. And people ask me, I say, this is my hobby. I do this purely for fun. If it ever did not become fun, I have a system in place right now where I would be able just to step away and other people can just run it for me. And that's what it would be. But right now, it is pure fun. This morning, before we had this podcast, I was at Home Depot with my contractor, making sure he had everything he needed so he can go off to the project that he's doing work right now on. I like picking out the stuff. I like meeting with them. I like dealing with these people. These are good people. They're fun people to deal with. So this is just pure fun for me. I get up, that Maryland rehab I told you, my grandfather's house.
Yep.
I would wake up, no alarm clock, 3:00 in the morning, no problem. I get up in bed. I'd be like, I tell my wife, I go, can you get the kids ready this morning? And what I would do is 3:00 in the morning, I'd shower, I'd jump in the car, I stop by, get a breakfast sandwich and a coffee. I drive an hour and a half down to Maryland. I check out progress on the job. I take notes and explain what needs to be done for the day. I'd leave. I'm only there for like half hour. I leave. I go right to the gym. I work out, and I'm in my office by 8:30 in the morning. I mean, that's what I did. It was a pure adrenaline rush. That's what it was. I wasn't tired at all, but it was just like, it gets me excited. I guess so that's what makes real estate different than like a W-2 job or something you're doing purely for money.
Yeah, I love that you talk about the passion. You also earlier talked about processes and systems and things like that. And so maybe we could dive in a little bit to that as well. And because you found something that you're passionate about, you enjoy being a part of it. You love being able to see the results, right? If you're watching us, you can just see it on your face as you're smiling, telling us the story. At the same time, there are people that say, okay, look, I want to get into this because it's going to help me to create more income. And when I get more income, it's going to allow me to do a number of different things. So how do you feel like as a high paid professional, which is a lot of people that are listening here, like when like you read the concepts in Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it says you're going to make an extra $100 a month, which $100 a month is great, right? Because it's $1,200 a year. And if you put that on $100,000, it's or something like that, and it does a lot more than the bank.
Yeah.
But maybe talk a little bit about the financial aspect in terms of how that, like what real estate needs to be able to do for you, so that also not only is passionate, it allows you to have this passion, but it also can be something that is profitable for you as well, that makes an impact on you.
100%. It is a business at the end of the day, and any business needs to generate money. I mean, if we were going into all these deals and losing money every month, it fails and it doesn't work. So part of it is this whole idea of growing something. I get excited with growing it, making it bigger. It does make money every month. I don't touch that money. That money stays in the business and it buys more real estate. That's all it does. It's a snowball effect. And it's just exciting. I ask myself all the time, how big can it get? Let's find out. That's what it is. I find that the financial part of the real estate, the benefit, the extra cash that comes in, it's more than $100 a month. So it's more meaningful than that. But it also makes my lawyer job more fun, I find, because it takes more pressure off the lawyer job, where you don't want to have a W-2 job or any job where it's so focused on money that you lose perspective of what's fun about it. Now, it's the lawyer job is purely, let's do fun things. Let's be successful in the lawyer job without worrying about, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get this huge bonus at the end of the year or something. It's okay. Things are okay. And the world will not fall apart at the end of the day, whatever happens. So I want to live life day by day. And every day I want to just love it and enjoy it and be grateful for the fact that I'm here and alive. I think that helps get me in that right mindset. And that's what I want to live the rest of my life.
Yeah, that really just struck an emotional chord with me when you talk about being able to go into your role and do, if you're in a W-2 job, that you're doing it because you want to be there. Because one of the fortunate things about being able to invest in real assets and something that you can understand is, once done properly, it can allow you to, have parts of your life already covered, so that when you consciously get up and go into your W-2 job every day, you're there because you want to be there. You're there focused on actually adding value to others. And it's something that resonates a lot with me. So I appreciate you sharing that, Cory, because it definitely resonates. So one of the things that I also know I like to talk about real assets, because I know you're into real estate, but there's something kind of unique, because if what we've found out about you is right, you also invest in parking lots. Is that correct?
I have one. Yes.
So how in the world, how do you get into parking lots? Talk to us about that.
Just by chance. Some opportunities just show up at your door one day knocking, and you let them in. It's that simple. That deal was a package deal, the way it worked. I'll give you a couple little detail of it. I did a mailer, and I ended up finding a woman who was 80-some years old, and she had invested herself for the last 30 years in the area, had 50-some units. And she's like, I'm moving with my daughter down to North Carolina, which is far away. And she said, I'm going to have to get rid of all these. And on this one block where she lived, which is a phenomenal block, very desirable area, which is exactly where I'm investing, she had a 3-unit apartment building, a 2-unit apartment building. She lived in one, a single-family house, and a parking lot, all next to each other. And I said, I'll take them all. And I have no money either. So I will need you to finance the deal. And she said, okay, deal, I'll finance it for you. Wow. So it was a package deal. The numbers all worked out. So it's one of those things where it's too good to pass up.
So, so, being too good to pass up, at the same time, it sounds like you were building the relationship with this lady, and you were getting to really understand what it was that she was trying to do and trying to achieve. And so it sounded like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you were able to come up with a plan that made sense for her, made sense for you. And as a result, because your mind was open to the concept, not only do you have more rental properties, you also have another real asset that's in your portfolio that is able to help create the types of returns that make sense for you. Is that right?
Absolutely. It was all everything I do is relationship based. Yeah. Even with that seller, I still stay in contact with her. I sent her a Christmas card every year, just because I do appreciate what she's done for me. And we worked out something that's helped each other out both. And what she appreciated the most is I do take these properties and I make them very, very nice. I mean, they're at the higher end.
Okay.
I sent her all the pictures afterwards. I said, I want to make sure that you feel like I've done your property justice. It was actually her apartment that she lived in that I fixed up. And I said, I want to make sure that you're comfortable with this too. So you see what we were able to do with this deal. Yep. And she was blown away. I mean, she was so happy with the way it turned out.
That's so awesome that you were able to continue to keep her in the loop, see how things are continuing to evolve, and I'm sure that she is appreciative of that. I kind of have maybe two last questions before we kind of get into the going long final three and building the anticipation you hear. Yeah. So what do you think you talked about relationships, but like really busy professionals, the thing is we don't, like, we have the same 24 hours in a day as everybody else, but they're usually really high paid price per hour kind of roles and things like that. But when you're putting your time and energy and focusing it somewhere else, like, what do you feel is the key to being able to say, you know what, I'm going to continue to invest an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of the thing outside of the thing that really gives me the biggest return on my time?
This is all mindset. It's all up here. I feel you hit the nail on the head when you said everybody has the same 24 hours. There's no unfair competitive advantage where someone's getting 24 and someone's only getting 20 or getting 25 and someone's only getting 23, right? I mean, Oprah has the same amount of time that you and I both have. Yep. It's how do you use that time? My experience is, I think the majority of people out there are just not fully happy 100%. And I think when you have something dragging on you, you lose some of the passion or drive or desire to want to move forward and succeed. Yeah. And then your 24 hours aren't used as efficiently as somebody else's. But if you find somebody who is 100% passionate, driven with what they do, they take those 24 hours and they say to themselves, what is the most efficient way for me to use these 24 hours that I have? Yep. And I think that's what the difference comes down to. It's all mentally. It's all in your head.
So it's keeping it all here, keeping it all in the head, and being able to focus on the things where you're going to get the maximum amount of output, which I think is phenomenal. And so go with us here. And Cory, if you kind of close your eyes and you think, Cory, what are you doing? What value are you bringing to others? Kind of 24 months down the line, what does your world look like 24 months from now?
Value to others. Number one thing I do, I feel like in this the area I'm in, it's a area that's been renovated over the last 15 years, but still needs a lot of work. I think number one is helping everybody else who's turning around the area and just being a part of it. Mm-hmm. I find pure joy in renting out apartments. And I still do it myself. I do all the showings. I meet the people. I want to meet the people because I want to see the joy on their face when they see the apartment. I have one right now that's being rehabbed that they rented it out before I even rehabbed it. And they're just so excited to see what the finished product is. It's almost like one of our HGTV shows we have in America, where I'm so pumped. I picked out everything to show them the day it's finished, to walk in with them and just see how happy they are on their face. So that's part of, I feel like that's the biggest positive impact that I can make in the community, is just helping turn around the area. And obviously I like working with people. Even my contractors, I've had the same, I'm not looking to get rich quick over anybody or see anybody burned on anything. I want to help my contractors succeed and everybody else who I work with. I'm a number one referral source for everything. My bank, I'm always looking to refer people to my lenders, help out my contractor and make sure that they're in a good position. So awesome. I feel like if you focus more on focusing on other people rather than yourself, good things turn around and come back to you.
All right. Awesome. So good things will definitely come back to you. We're closing our eyes. We look 24 months in. And so you are helping other people continuing to contribute, which I think is awesome. And so on that awesome note, I think it's time for us to go to the going long final three. Thing is, I never ask the question unless you tell me that you're ready for me to ask you the question. So are you ready?
It's go time. I'm ready.
Awesome. Let's do it, Cory. All right. First of all, first question is, with me being here in Barcelona, we started on the other side of the pond earlier. Would love to know, what is your favorite European city that you've either visited or is still on your bucket list to visit?
Okay. So this is my biggest flaw, is that I don't travel enough. So it's going to be my bucket list. And
awesome.
Real estate is going to be my avenue to get me there.
There you go. Love it.
Iannacone, Italian background. I have to go to Italy, and I need to do a full tour of Italy. And on my tour, I need to hit where my great-grandparents came from, Naples and Calabria.
Oh,
Hit them.
nice.
And I also want to hit Rome in there, maybe Venice, but I want a full tour, the full experience of Italy.
All right, perfect. And then we're also going to, because we laughed about this in the beginning, because when I see your last name, I just want to say Iannacone. And so, yes. And so I'm going to take Naples, because Naples was the first city that you stated. And so we'll make sure that that gets in the show notes. And it is a place that I absolutely love. I love Naples. I love Italy. I used to live there. I think you know that. So the other thing you talked about, a couple of the mistakes maybe, or some of the things that happened to you in the past. Really interested in what one lesson would you say that you learned from a mistake that somebody could really benefit from?
I would say this is a more general lesson. I feel like people need to focus more time on themselves, improving themselves and making themselves better versus trying to fix outside situations first. It's like if a plane were going down, the initial reaction would be to help everyone else with their masks. But if you help yourself with your mask first, you can help more people. Every day, I feel like I focus on how do I make myself a better father, husband, real estate investor, lawyer, all of the above. And that's what my focus is on.
Okay, fantastic. So focus on making sure that you're strong and being able to help others. So this is really going to bring us home. So the very last question is, what book would you recommend to the Going Long audience?
I want to try to stay away from all the cliches, but your listeners do have to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But outside that, I went to, I had a conference in the Bahamas in January, right before COVID-19 hit. And I picked up a book in the airport called The Extraordinary Mind. It was by an author, Vishen Lakhiani, I believe, Lakhiani. It was great. And it all talked about mindset and the whole idea that we limit ourselves by these rules we believe are out there when there really are no limitations in life. And it's about pushing that limit to grow yourself and make yourself a better person. But I thought that was a great read.
All right. Awesome. So The Extraordinary Mind, and we'll make sure that that's also in the show notes. So listen, I guess, Cory, really, really great conversation. Love your energy. And it's been so great to be able to hear another story from a high-paid professional like yourself as an attorney who not only did all the right things and got all the right education, and you even went out and pivoted and started your own thing with other people of like-minded people in terms of your firm. At the same time, you created not only Plan B, but Plan C, got involved in real estate, and you've been able to see the value of being able to create processes and systems and being able to build relationships. And as a result, today you have a portfolio that is continuing to grow, and you are really focused on growing and contributing to others. And as a result, I'm sure 2 years down the road, at least, or at a minimum, that you're going to be even closer to your dreams and to your goals. So I really want to say thank you for sharing your story with us. And I'm sure that everybody that's listening is kind of like, oh my God, Cory was so cool. I want to really ask him even more detailed questions. And so like, how do I get in touch with you, Cory? Help us understand. What is the best way for the Going Long audience to reach out and contact you?
I would say follow me on the Bigger Pockets podcast or website. I'm on there. I'm active. I post a lot. So that's the easiest way to connect to me. A lot of people have connected through that. Bigger Pockets.
All right. Through Bigger Pockets. So we'll make sure that we link to your profile in Bigger Pockets. We'll put that in the show notes as well. So Cory, listen, man, thank you so much for taking the time, for sharing your story with us. I'm sure they're adding a lot of value to everyone that is watching us, everyone that is listening to us. And so thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. I really appreciate it.
All right. It's been awesome. So, and also too, to the Going Long audience, thanks once again for taking your time investing with Cory and I here today. I'm sure that you learned so much from Cory, and just also being another high-paid professional that is able to go out and have real assets, provide even more of the lifestyle that he wants to get to. And you're sure you're going to learn and put a lot of the actionable steps that he talked about today. And so, I want to thank you for investing your time with us, and also, feel free to share this episode with 2 or 3 of your other friends that are attorneys that want to understand, like, how can I be an attorney and still go out and do things with real estate? Cory is a living example of how that can actually happen. Also, leave us your review. Let us know what you liked about today's episode. What are the things that you would love to hear more about? And you can even follow up with Cory, and he'll tell you about those kind of stuff. And if you want to leave a 5-star review too, go ahead. Feel free to do that. So because of that, I just want to say I'm really looking forward to welcoming each and every one of you back to the very next episode. And until then, go out and make it a great day. Wow, don't you love hearing from top-notch experts in the field? You know, when I was getting started, I really wish that I would have had access to such experts. And even more, I wish they would have given me like a really simple list of things to follow so that I could have gotten to my goals much faster and been much happier even sooner. So that's why I've created for you the 7 things that you should avoid in order to be successful in long distance investing. And you can pick that up really easily by going to billykeels.com/7 things to avoid. And also, if you liked today's episode, don't forget to leave a 5-star review. I'm looking forward to seeing you on our very next episode, so go out and make it a great day.